again everyone, Lucas Berry here for Wild Oak Railin. Welcome into part 2 of our Ohio Railfan adventure. In this video we'll be staying in Deshler for a little bit. We'll also be getting to Fostoria and Marion, Ohio. And I'll tell you what, if you want to see railroad history at work, this is the video for you. There was a lot of railroad history throughout the whole time we were there, as evidenced by the fact that we saw the B&O signal still on the job how many years later. But there was a lot more history on the rails in this video, so I really can't wait to show that to you. It was a great time, and again, I said it in the description. If G&A Adventures ask you to go on a Railfan trip, go, because it's going to be fantastic. You're going to see places you never thought you'd see. You're going to have experiences you never forget. And it truly was that. It was truly unforgettable. So with that being said, let's get on and let's show you part 2. This is Ohio Railfan Adventure, part 2. On Sunday morning, we made our way out to Fostoria. Let's get a layout of things here in town. Fostoria is where 3 railroads, now 2, converge to form one iron triangle. CSX comes east-west on the old B&O and north-south on the old C&O, and crosses NS on the former nickel plate road twice. Our first action was on the nickel plate, with this grain train rolling west. No idea on its symbol. Next up, we have movement on the B&O as an unidentified CSX intermodal rolls east. train is rolling east towards Chicago. How, you ask? Well, it's heading towards the town of Willard, Ohio, which was called Chicago when it was founded, due to being where the B&O line to Chicago started. As you can imagine, that created quite the confusion for passengers riding B&O trains, and so in 1917 they named the town after B&O President Daniel Willard, one of the most popular railroad leaders ever. The Willard subdivision carries his name as well. A great thrill for us was getting to see our home road in action, and I'm not talking about just CSX. The rails of the Chesapeake and Ohio came to life next with a familiar sight, coal. With no train ID, it's hard to tell where it originated from, but I guarantee you it passed through Russell, Kentucky and Columbus, Ohio to get here. That much I know for certain. I couldn't resist a shot of a train on the C&O crossing the nickel plate since they at one time owned by the same people. The Van Swerigen brothers from Cleveland, Ohio once owned the C&O, nickel plate, Erie, Wheeling and Lake Erie, and the Pere Marquette, among other roads. Up next is something I'd never seen before. BNSF grain cars. What stood out to me here was not only were the CSX engines pulling a whole train of foreign cars, but that some of the cars still had the old Burlington Northern Santa Fe logo as well as the BNSF swoosh. Our last train today at Fostoria is an unidentified NS manifest coming out of Blair Yard with an interesting engine trailing, a Thoroughbred -9. The Thoroughbred paint scheme for NS is a logo without the horse head. You don't see this scheme much anymore. In fact, this was my first time seeing it. We went back to Deshler and again got some food. When we got back, storms were rolling in and we weren't about to stay out in that. Fortunately for us, we didn't miss anything, as the railroad had stopped due to a report of downed trees on the rails. The report thankfully was false. Once the weather cleared up, though, the getting was good. First up was a near perfect meet of two stack trains. First up is IO 17, Worcester, Massachusetts to Chicago. It's meeting IO 16, Chicago to Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. After that, the parade kept going with a nice long manifest. I love manifests, not only because of the variety of cars you'll see on one train, but because often you'll find fallen flag cars on these trains. Several railroads I'd only heard about were on this one, including Missouri Pacific and Southern Pacific. This is M370. They lead Chicago to Cumberland, Maryland. The last train of the day for me was yet another intermodal, but this one had some out-of-towners on it, with three BNSF GEs pulling. I-172, Los Angeles to North Baltimore. The previous night, there was a tank train parked right outside of town. We all wondered when it would move, and we finally got our answer before we left. The train in question is B627, Chicago to Charlotte ethanol. On the way home, we went back to Fostoria, and I guess word travels pretty fast around here, because NS must have heard about that horn show CSX gave us, and this crew decided to give one too. Not quite as long, but still great and always appreciated. Our final stop of the trip was Marion, Ohio. Here, CSX comes in on the Mount Victory subdivision, ex-New York Central, and crosses itself on the ex-Cino Columbus subdivision, and then crosses NS on the Sandusky district, ex-Pennsylvania Railroad. There's also an old interlocking tower here. We actually filmed from said tower. And a beautifully preserved station serving as a museum with an incredible amount of railroad paperwork for sale. If you're a railroad paperwork collector like I am, you'll be amazed at this. Not long after we stopped, and we came across something that made us want to stay a little longer than we thought we would. An old Conrail caboose still in use on CSX. It's serving as a shoving platform for the Marion switcher job Y121. And once he gets permission to cross NS, he'll cross the C&O and head to the yard. The power is old Conrail too. CSX 2727 is a GP38-2 built in 1973 as Penn Central 8072 and was given to CSX as part of the Conrail split. We went inside the museum and came back to Y121 coming out of the yard, but with no caboose this time. Oh well, old power is still cool. Speaking of old power, we end our video and our trip with the next Southern SD40-2 leading an NS local. No ID on its symbol. What a way to end the trip. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please be sure to like the video. If you like the video, leave a comment down below if you are so inclined. And if you have not done so, hit that bell down there to get notified when a new video gets posted. Until next time, somewhere out down the railroad, I am Lucas Berry for White Oak Rail.